Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Hoffman of EnlighteningLife.com, and today is July 29th, 2015, and I'm telling you the date because I want you to have a reference point for this video, because I cover information that is going to be used in the next, throughout the rest of this year and into 2016. So if you've been reading what I've been writing lately, I've been talking a lot about the end of a 33-year cycle, the end of a period that started like 83 to 85 now, with Saturn in the final degrees of Scorpio. I've been also talking about a 99-year cycle that ends this year, and actually starting in 2016 we start another kind of a new cycle, but we also complete the end of this cycle, which began in 1917. And why is that date significant? Well, in 1917, three very important things happened. The first was Einstein released his theory of relativity. The second was the Virgin Mary appeared to the three little girls at Fatima and gave them the three prophecies. The third was the United States entered World War I in April of 1917. Why are these three things important? Well, let's look at, first of all, the theory of relativity, which in simple form is E equals mc squared. If you look at that, though, you know that it's not right. So the published version of the theory of relativity is wrong, and I believe Einstein knew it was wrong, but he, under a lot of pressure, published it wrong, because what it says in that form is energy is a function of matter, but we know that matter is created from energy. I wrote in a post that was widely shared as, what matters becomes matter. So you take energy, and through your thoughts and intentions and beliefs, you create things. This is how you create your reality, from energy. So the theory of relativity is actually written backwards. It should be M, matter, equals energy times a coefficient of vibration and frequency, becomes matter. So it's wrong. And you should know by now that it's wrong. You know that if you take certain levels of energy, you take a certain frequency and vibration, you create your reality from that. So that is one thing. And we're learning that now, even though we're learning it kind of in a backwards way, but we're learning that now. The second thing is America entered World War I. Well, that was supposed to be, that was called a Great War, and then World War II was the war to end all wars, and we've all been afraid of World War III now, which is not going to happen. But the cycle, that 99-year cycle that created World War I, that energy ends at the end of the 99-year cycle. Nobody wants World War III, and certainly nobody is going to be fooled into creating another world war in the same way that we were fooled in World War I and World War II. But the third is really important, and that's the prophecies at Fatima, again, which were released in 1917. As you know, there were three prophecies. The first two were released and the third was not. And the reason it was not is because the Pope, to whom they were given, decided that the third prophecy was so terrible that mankind couldn't stand it. Well, I believe that the third prophecy actually talked about the end of the Catholic Church. Now you have to look at the Catholic Church not as a religion and as a church, but literally as an ideology, a paradigm, and a set of beliefs. The Catholic Church is a country, it's a nation, it has its own country, its own castle, its own ruler, and it pretty much rules the world. You know, the Catholic Church the Vatican owns the World Bank, which is the central bank for the world. Well, what happens if the Catholic Church ends? Well, it's the energy that the church has used to dominate the world is coming to an end. Nobody wants to be dominated and controlled. We understand personal sovereignty. We understand we don't need a church to interact with God, be our go-between with God. We are self-sovereign. We are also emanations of God. We are pieces of God energy. So we don't need a priest. We don't need a church to be able to interact with God. And the teaching of the church is that we're all sinners. We are less than. We are not worthy. I remember I grew up a Catholic, and I can remember one of the prayers was, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you. Well, at the time, I never liked that then, and I certainly don't believe it now. But all of these things together create this 99-year cycle. Well, interestingly enough, the Pope is coming to the United States in September. And September is the equinox. Why is he coming then? He's actually coming either the day of or right after the equinox. Well, because it's the end of this 99-year cycle. And he's not coming to Washington, D.C., he's going to Philadelphia. And what is Philadelphia? It's the birthplace. It was the place where the First Continental Congress was, the birthplace of the United States. So all of this energy is building. There's all these different things coming together that show that this 99-year cycle is ending. I also want to point out the 33-year cycles. So the first one was in 1917. The second 33-year cycle then was the second 33-year cycle was in 1950. The next 33-year cycle was the cycles began in 1917. So the first 33 years takes us to 1950. The next 33 years takes us to 83, and the last 33 years takes us to 2016. So again, 1917 was the beginning. It was, as I said, the Fatima, the prophecies, the relativity, and the World War I. The second was in 1950. What happened in 1950s? Well, around 1950 was when we had the Roswell incident. We had the growth of technology. We had a lot of things happening in government. And then you also have to look at 16 and a half years. So look at half of 33. I'm not going to do the math for you. It's kind of long and complicated. But if you take 16 and a half years from 1917, you go into 1933. What happened then? Hitler began World War III. Hitler began his invasion of Europe. So look at these cycles. Again, look at the 33 years and then look at half of that cycle, and you'll see that significant historical events occur at these different points. And then 1983, which is when, again, Saturn was in Scorpio the last time, and now we have Saturn in Scorpio again. Saturn goes into a sign and makes a full circle of the zodiac every 29 to 30 years. But we also, in that period, every 30 years or so, 30 to 33 years, we have Saturn and Pluto in mutual reception. The most significant ones, though, happen whenever Saturn is in Scorpio. And you can look at those periods and look at the dates and find out that significant world events happen in those dates. So what does it mean for you? Well, really nothing on a personal level, except that you're being called into the more conscious, aware, and purposeful and intentional use of your energy. What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of reality do you want in your life? And this is what we can do. We can't change the world. We can give the world an example of change. So when you focus your energy and focus your intention and really get clear on what you want in your life, you create the joyful, abundant living that you want. You set that as a paradigm for the rest of the world. This is a critical time for us, and for all of you who are awake, aware, enlightened, and are ready to really move into abundant, joyful living. This is a call for you to marshal all that energy, to focus your energy on creating that for yourself, because that's what's going to create that in the rest of the world. And you know, ascension isn't a process of somebody coming down and scooping us all up and we all go to heaven. Ascension is an internal process. Heaven on earth is an integration. It's not a takeover. We are at a significant part, a significant point in our ascension cycle. We're at a significant point in the cycle of the earth and the cycle of humanity. We are at the end of this 99-year cycle. And I really do believe that the Catholic Church is over, that its rule is over. It may continue to exist as a church, but as far as a world dominant and world controlling entity, that part is over. So as you go through these next few weeks, and this actually goes on, Saturn enters Sagittarius around early September, mid-September. So we've got like August, September, like 6 weeks or so, that to really focus our energy. Consider the world you want to live in. Look at your reality and see what changes are happening in your reality, and that's what's going to be expressed in the rest of the world. And you know, we have control. I mean, we do. We are in control of this reality. We are in control of our own thoughts and our minds and what goes on in with our own energy. So please don't feel helpless or hopeless. Please don't feel like this is an overwhelming task. It's not. We are each one of many billions of people around the world who want a world that's run with peace and joy and love and great intentions, and where everybody is happy and there's justice and there's fairness and equality for all. That world is possible, but we have to create it. So stay focused, keep your energy intact, have strong energy boundaries. Remember, my favorite energy boundary is everyone in my life loves, honors, and respects me, and everything in my life is a source of love, peace, and joy. That will keep your energy flowing, keep your vibrations high, raise those vibes, because we need them right now. This is Jennifer Hoffman. I hope this has been enlightening, informative, and helpful. Visit me at enlighteninglife.com. Thanks so much for watching.